Of course, the paradigm, how GroupWise runs, is very different than Exchange. GroupWise has agents. Post office agent, I've got a message transfer agent, I've got an internet agent, that all sit on different pieces of hardware. I can have those pieces of hardware customized for each one of those different applications. They can sit on the same piece of hardware that runs web access or runs different applications and different services. They play well with others. Okay? Exchange does not. Exchange sits on one box. It only runs Exchange and nothing else. Exchange is monolithic. As Richard said earlier, what that means is that when you install Exchange, you get everything. There's a post office, an MTA, a GUIA, SMTP gateway. All of those components are there. There's no way to customize and optimize what you're doing with an Exchange server, because all the applications run. Think about the difference between a GUIA and a post office, a POA. Post office, you optimize it for client access, for disk space. There's a number of things you do to make that post office run really well. GUIA, I don't care about disk space. We care about internet threads, communication. We care about moving data as fast as possible. Post office, we care about storing data. Two very different things, but you cannot customize Exchange in that way because it's a monolithic protocol. Why is it monolithic? Because it's built on Microsoft Mail. Exchange, at its core, is a single post office mail system. It was never designed to support more than 16 gig. It was never designed to support more than one post office. It was never designed to do any of the things that we're asking it to do today. Microsoft achieves scalability by bolting other technology on to fix the fundamental flaws that exist in the core technology. Core technology is broken, put a Band-Aid on it. Put a bandage on it. That's how Microsoft fixes it. And I'll explain how that works here in a minute. Last thing I want to mention, and I hate to do this sometimes because obviously we have partners in the rooms, people that are reselling Waba software, might be selling stuff from Microsoft. And I don't mean to be overly blunt about this, but I am a registered Microsoft and Novell partner. I can tell you that every month I get 2 phone calls from Microsoft. One at the local office and one from the small business sales center in somewhere in the US, asking me if I want to bring a client in to present to them at Microsoft's office. If I have clients that I want to invite to their monthly little have drinks and hors d'oeuvres one night, that if I want to participate in the newest program from Microsoft to get free software or free money or free something from them to go on a trip. Microsoft does a number of things to incentivize me to sell their software, to introduce my customers to them. Exchange users are slow to migrate to new versions. Richard mentioned this briefly, but I think it's a very good statistic that this is before Exchange 2007, before GroupWise 7. We looked at the last version of each application. GroupWise 6.5, Exchange 2003. They were all released about the same time frame. Microsoft and Novell were keeping up. One would release, the other would release. So we're very close to each other, comparing apples to apples, so to speak. GroupWise had over 90% of its installed base on the latest version. Exchange had 5% of the installed base on the latest version. Matter of fact, Exchange had 40% of its installed base at the time. This is, again, GroupWise 6.5, before GroupWise 7 came out, so it's a little over a year ago now, a year and a half ago. At that point in time, over 40% of Exchange users were running Exchange 5.5. Next chance to win a toy. Can somebody tell me, oh here it is, when Exchange 5.5 shipped? By the way, it's the same time frame that GroupWise 5.5 shipped, so if you know when that was. If you get it plus or minus 2 years, I'll give you the shirt.
97, right?
97. Perfect. Great job. 1997. We are talking, this is a year and a half ago, so we're talking that like 45% of Microsoft customers were running technology that was over 8.5 years old you have to buy a Microsoft SQL Enterprise Server license for each of your Exchange servers. Anybody know what the US price of that is? $9,999 US. Oh, by the way, for every one of your Exchange users, you have to buy a SQL Cal as well. $149 US per user. So if you actually want an Exchange database that works, you have to basically buy Microsoft SQL for every one of your users. Oh, by the way, if you already own Microsoft SQL for all your users, that doesn't count, because this is Microsoft SQL for Exchange. So it's a separate license fee and a separate charge. So even if you already bought into Microsoft SQL, you're still going to spend some more money. So you can actually have a database that works for your email server if you spend another, on average, $50,000 to $100,000 for a 500 user shop. Another $200, $300 per user just to have a database that works. We're not buying a different email system. We're just buying a database that works. So, pretty scary stuff. That's why not very many people have upgraded to Exchange 2007 or have deployed Exchange 2007 with SQL backend. It's okay. Is GroupWise more secure? Sure it is. Okay? But I accept the realities of this world. And one of those realities is users like Outlook. I'm okay with that. But install Outlook securely. The most secure Microsoft Outlook is a Microsoft Outlook connected to a GroupWise backend, not to an Exchange backend. Let me talk about the security for a second. Last year by CERT, here's the number of vulnerabilities reported for each platform. 4 for GroupWise, 67 by Notes, Exchange Outlook 287. And by the way, the 4 vulnerabilities reported for GroupWise were actually old vulnerabilities. One was Padlock. One was the, which one was that called? I remember 2 of them were discovered by the security research team I had at Bindview 5 years ago. They were simply re-reported, and the people who reported the vulnerability didn't realize that they'd already been reported before, because they'd been reported 5 years earlier. 4 versus 287. Outlook's getting so much more secure, isn't it? So, obviously security is a big win for GroupWise. And of course, one of the big things I love about GroupWise, freedom to choose. Microsoft Software Assurance is not Microsoft Software Assurance. It's Microsoft Software Slavery. You have no choice. You must deploy Microsoft software. You must continue to pay them money. And Microsoft Software Assurance program is expensive. It's a ripoff. It is, as I like to say, financial slavery. Okay? What do you get with Novell? I now get 3 different platforms I can install GroupWise on. I can choose NetWare, I can choose Linux, I can even choose Windows. I have how many different client supports? Windows, Mac, and Linux are all supported natively, so I can pick what I want to have from a platform perspective. I can, of course, choose other clients, in addition to operating system. Number of choices here. I can choose the best technology that fits my organization. That means to me that I'm not locked into one vendor. That means I don't have to pay one vendor, fees going forward that don't make sense. That means every year I can continue to choose the best technology for my company. With software assurance, you can't make that choice. You lose the freedom to choose. As I like to say, it's software slavery. Now, one of the things that I recommend doing as part of the how do you fight Microsoft, the first thing you have to do is become educated. You guys are doing that today. The next thing you have to do is be prepared. How do you prepare to deal with people coming into your organization and saying, we should upgrade to Microsoft Exchange? I love that word, upgrade to Microsoft Exchange. Isn't that just an amazing little phrase that I like to say? More of a downgrade, as we've shown.